I should get going now.
Without your boat? You don't want to lose it, Georgie. Bill's gonna kill you. Here. Take it.
A lot of those memeing boys out there, you're going to want me to put it in Disney, but like hell are Disney going to do a Stephen King land. Even Universal are not going to do it as well, because think about it, theme parks have got to be accessible to everyone. You can't have little kids running around like, oh, Frontierland, oh, Cars Land, oh, Production Central, oh, the Wizarding World of Harry Potter, oh, Stephen King land. Also, look, I absolutely think you could do a cracking Shining Maze and, I don't know, like a Misery House, or like basically the Cars Land, what is it called, the Radiator Springs Races, but he said it's Christine, but I'm getting ahead of myself. So, the ride. So the facade of the building is going to be Bill Denborough's house. This is where Bill and Georgie lived. It's a really good location, and slashed across it, it's going to say the ride. So you walk up to this kind of manor house, right, and you think, oh, do I just walk inside? No, son. You don't enter through the front door. The front door is cemented shut. You can't get through it. You enter through the side. You go down through the sewers. There's a massive sewer opening next to it. From the outside, there'll be recordings of Pennywise. He's like teasing you, he's coaxing you in. We could have a live actor sort of addressing people directly, saying, hey, you in the yellow shirt, or hey, you trying to make a YouTube career, even though he's not even got his scripts off the ground yet, and making rides about pointless things. Why don't you come inside? It's fine. So you descend, so the queue system is going to be through the sewers, right? And inside, you'll hear Pennywise coaxing you, but you'll also hear Georgie as well, and some of the other kids that Pennywise has captured. We're going deep cuts with this ride, alright? So we are more directly adapting from the films and the remakes than we are from the actual book, but as we all know, theme parks love a good Easter egg, so there's going to be flyers from, say, the Kitchener Ironworks and the other kids that disappeared. All the while, George is going to be asking you. He's going to be like, hey guys, where are we going? Has anyone seen Bill? I've got to find my boat. Like, you know, we'll get that child actor and we'll digitally de-age him somehow. It'll be fine. So when you reach the cars, I'm not really decided what the ride vehicles are going to be. Obviously, a big part of it is the bikes. They do have the E.T. ride still going in 2020, God knows. And you could have the boarding vehicles be bikes, but riding bike through the sewers, does it really make sense? I'm not really sure, but then there's also not really another vehicle that you could properly use, so screw it. Alright, it's bikes, alright, and they'll just have to move quick enough. So you reach these cars, and the cast members, the boarding group attendees, they're all dressed from different time periods. So some of them are dressed like the Old West, some of them are dressed like the 1950s, some of them are a bit more 80s. It entirely depends on what time of day you go. They're like ghosts, alright? Well, they are ghosts. Like in the style of Haunted Mansion or Tower of Terror, they don't really speak to you if you need to get off, if you're already feeling a bit too scared. They'll guide you out, but they'll like hiss at you or whatever, or they'll speak to you in like colloquialisms specific to that time. So on Forbidden Journey, you're obviously on the conveyor belt and you do a sweeping left turn over your shoulder as Hermione says something like Lumos or whatever she says. So in this version, you're going to have Pennywise saying, you'll float too, and then you'll have Georgie saying, you'll float too! You'll float too! But the ride does not take place solely in the sewers. First point of contact is going to be the school. We're going to see each of the kids in a lineup, sat at their own desks, and their own horrors are going to appear around them. It's like the stretching room from a Haunted Mansion. You see him from one angle and everything's fine, but then as soon as you circle around them, Eddie's got the weird, disgusting hobo behind him, and then Ben, if it was book accurate, he would see the mummy, but if we're going off the film, I guess it's just Pennywise calling him fat. Deal with it.
Fat boy!
The idea is this ride, you already know the loose story of it, so you've already got an idea, or at the very least, if you're not familiar, when you're circling around them, you can have one of the characters explaining like, oh, he takes on the form of the thing we fear the most, which gives context. So the two major set pieces of this ride, one of them is the sewers, and one of them is the house on Neibold Street, which they basically feed into each other, as in the film. We cut from the school, we go through the house on Neibold Street, and we do an Oblivion-esque dive down the great sewer opening, and the floor drops beneath you. And you see the final confrontation, the kids all beating him up, it's great. So then we swing out there when we're back on the field, and they're all in a circle, and they're all putting their palms to vowing to remember to come back. And then one by one, all the animatronics fade. But Mike sits down, and then through Pepper's ghost effect, whatever, he transforms into an old guy before our very eyes. He's the old man Mike. And then he muses that he hopes the day would never come. But 27 years later, it has now. So somewhere between the school scene and the actual house on Neibolt Street scene, I want it to be this drop into a hallway where you hear the audio from the scene, from the projector scene. So you're at the one end of the hallway, and at the other end is the projector, as if it's being projected in front of you. And you're seeing, click, click, you're seeing the different images, the sewers, the history of Pennywise. But then we get to the slide where Pennywise is on, and slowly but surely you start creeping towards the screen faster and faster and faster as the clicking of Pennywise appears, and his massive face extends out to you, and he's coming towards you, and then this animatronic head sort of screeches out to you, screaming he's going to get you. Then we slide underneath him, and we escape just in the nick of time, just like on the Jurassic Park Riverboat Adventure.
You mean like at Universal Studios? Cha-ching!
So Mike slumps onto his desk, and he muses that he hoped the day would never come. But 27 years later, it has. And then the ride ends. Well, part one of the ride. Now, practically speaking, I'm not sure how well this would work out. Ideally, you'd want to have the ride and then part two straight afterwards, and you disembark the ride vehicles into the theatrical show. However, if it's like a Terminator 2 3D situation, I'm not sure how many shows the actors can physically do and the plot turnarounds and stuff, so I am open to suggesting that the second half of the ride can be a separate experience, as in you can queue up for it straight away if you want, or you can come back to it later. A bit like how Harry Potter and the Cursed Child, part 1 and 2, you can view both on the same day, or you can come back different days. It doesn't really matter. I would encourage everyone to ride it. I'm saying it like it's real. I would encourage you all to ride it straight after for it to make more sense, but don't even worry about it. But let's say you get off, okay? Let's say you disembark, you queue up at some theatre doors, and then you disembark into a theatre, and you have a live show with the adult live cast members playing the adult members of the children. It's somewhere between Terminator and Alien Extraterrestrial. You're sat in a theatre in the round situation. In the middle, and in the middle is the set. So when you get in, the cast are already there. They're already and it's the dining room scene, and they're on this table, but the table slowly starts spinning in the middle of them as they each sort of recount where they've been, what they've been up to. It's like a really, really obviously summarised version of the scene, that slowly the horror creeps in, things start messing. The seats are rumbling, there's things breathing down your neck, like Pennywise is everywhere, basically. It's great. It's broken up by Henry Bowers bursts into the scene, probably from the audience. He reappears and they fight him, and Mike explains to everyone that he's been brainwashed by Pennywise and he's been taken under. So they take down Henry Bowers and they look around, and now we transition into a Twister-esque situation where the walls of the theatre literally break down. Wind is wrapping us. Sure we can have seat belts on the seats. Why not? You know, there's wind wrapping around. There's rain effects. They call out. It's tearing down Derry. It's actually destroying the town. We need to end it. So they take us down into the sewers, and obviously all the sets for this will be pretty Billy Basics to be able to swap out and stuff. But they find its nest. They realise its plan. And a giant animatronic spider will appear from the ceiling in a massive set piece, and he's going to be hanging over everyone, his tendrils. He's going to be oozing stuff down onto the audience. Is it water? Is it some Nickelodeon Fun Factory goo, Slime Factory goo? Who knows? And, you know, he's going to be like taunting everyone, making all his evil vows and stuff, and then Bill's going to shout at him a bunch. He's like, you killed my brother, and then they defeat him, and they manage to shout at him with the power of friendship, and he actually dissolves all across the audience. Like, he physically, Pennywise will be destroyed, will explode and splatter over everyone. Like, you know, don't wear a white shirt to this ride because you're going to get ruined, son. And then when all's said and done, they remark that as they put that little bit of aircon just drifted down, the shivers on your neck, just like they did in the Terminator ride, mate, rest in peace. And they remark that they're not sure if it's gone forever, but they promise to come back if it ever does. And then that's a ride, and then the house lights, and you clap for your actors, and then you leave. And it's a lot of fun. So as I say, it's a combination of the E.T. ride, the Jurassic the Jurassic Park Riverboat Adventure, the Terminator ride, Alien Extraterrestrial, and a little bit of sprinkled in between. Look, they can use screens if they want. It's fine, don't even worry about it. I'm not bloody arsey about screens, am I? I'm not bothered about screens, to be honest. Screens are great. I love screens. You're watching this on a screen right now, so there.
Fat boy!